Okay.
Coaching voice back on.
What?
Get the
Yeah.
coaching voice back on.
Okay, since we have no citizens communication, we'll go ahead to item C, which is announcements or reminders. Do we have any announcements or reminders other than the minutes?
No, sir, just the Zoom link information.
Okay.
Okay, so the.
Anybody hear that? Do we have no,
Center column of the information checklist.
Only the
there's a
Zoom
copy of your
information that we have.
employment history, so the section below is the date of loss.
Gail, I can't hear you, Gail. Can't hear you.
I wasn't trying to talk.
No, not a problem, you're fine.
Okay, yeah. We should be good, sir.
Okay, we're on to item D, approval of the minutes.
Okay, I have an announcement.
Okay, we move on to item D, which is the approval of the minutes.
Oh, she said you have an announcement.
The
Okay.
announcement is
Gail.
Gail, you
everyone
got
come to Riverside Park,
Oh, okay, I'll put a note here about that.
February 13 and 14 for the largest disc golf tournament.
That may not have been verified yet.
Hey, Steven,
Okay, here's the
could you
announcement.
mute
Everyone come
your,
out to Riverside Park and Patriot Park this weekend for the largest disc golf tournament to be hosted in Victoria in 20 years. So even though it's freezing, we're going to be out there playing disc golf. Lions Club Pavilion, y'all come out. That's all I got. Sponsorship. And thank you guys for your
And once
sponsorship.
again, this is when, Gail?
Say what?
this weekend?
This weekend, but
Yes,
when does it
this
start? Friday, Saturday?
pregame start Friday. Tournament play is Saturday and Sunday. Awards will be
Okay, what
5
time in the
o'clock
morning?
at the Lions Club Pavilion on Valentine's Day.
Okay, wow. And the start time's 8 o'clock in the morning? Oh, you start at 8 o'clock?
Friday, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Everybody hear that on the tournament on this weekend? Okay, we're good there then.
Hey, really quick, James, do you have this on record?
Yes, I do. I am recording this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just double checking before we got too far.
Everybody should have their minutes. We go ahead and go to item number D, which is the approval of the minutes. I have the minutes. Okay.
So, page 3, and then page 5.
Well, that's right, we shouldn't have any because we were on the tour.
Right.
The last one is from the December 14th as well,
Yeah,
because we didn't approve that because we had the tour the next week.
right,
So we have the December 14th plus the meeting,
the tour.
the
Yes.
tour.
Yes, sir. And the minutes from the tour are pretty, I mean, they're pretty just short, yeah. Up front, that we took a tour of those parks. So the main ones would be the December 14th, that has a lot of the verbiage in it, what took place.
Everybody hear that there's the minutes on it for the December meeting. The January meeting, we had that tour. Is everybody, any questions on the tour or anything that we encounter that you might have questions on? So everybody's happy with the tour? Everybody enjoyed the tour?
I have a
Tricia?
comment on the tour. At the stop where we were at the boat dock, Ashley started to try to talk about Patriot Park. And I said, we can't talk about that. That's county. I would like to retract that statement and try to include Patriot Park in all city plannings because it is our county park and it's one of the most outstanding parks that we have in our area. So the more that we can utilize that place and partner with the county, I would vote 100% for that. So sorry about that, Ashley. I was conditioned otherwise, but I'm trying to break out of that. Thank y'all.
Also, I never saw the minutes. What time were they sent? Were they sent today?
Minutes?
They were actually sent on Thursday
Okay,
or Friday.
right.
Does that typically happen whenever you send out the draft? And all?
I have one more comment in regard to the tour. I really enjoyed the tour. I wasn't familiar with several of the parks that we visited, but I think trying to move the South Side project to the Santa Rosa new playground over there by Perpetual Help Home could benefit a lot more people than trying to do that Martin Luther King, which seems to have all the amenities that one could think of already. So that's all I got.
Gail, are you talking about the property on Santa Rosa right there where it used to be the old railroad depot?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Okay, that property belong to us?
No, it belongs to the Railroad Commission, but there's a long story behind it. We could go into it later, but it's possible for us, for the city to get.
Yeah, I visited that property 2 days ago, just to make sure that it was still there.
It's a beautiful empty
Yeah, there's a
lot,
lot of-
isn't it?
Right, well, I don't know if you recall, but there used to be 2 haunted houses there before they tore them down.
Oh, Lord.
Old antique houses they were there in that lot where the street is, further
Haunted.
away from Juan. Yeah, and I think it's whatever street that is, right across the old bar. There used to be a bar there. There used to be 2 houses there.
Before
that
my
we used to-
time, I know nothing about these things. But that's all I see there today is a beautiful lot that's screaming playground all over it. To me, anyway.
Yes, it is. Anything else?
I just need to approve the minutes, sir.
Okay, do I hear approval of the minutes? Anyone approve the minutes? Hello?
I do. Aye.
Okay, Jason, approve the minutes there, second.
I second. Jesse?
Jesse, okay, so
And
motion made by Justin, second by Jesse. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
All those opposed? Okay, minutes approved as sent.
Good deal.
Okay, Okay, now we go to other business.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, move right along.
All right, so we'll try to keep this somewhat short for everybody. We don't have any action items on the agenda tonight, so it's really just updates from the department. However, there are some updates that we want to keep you aware of for the parks, regarding the Parks Master Plan. So that's what we'll really be kind of touching on. Sorry, I'm gonna scoot back a little bit and take this mask off so you can hear me. Okay. Technology, right? And then some of the cool things you get to do. So first of all, really quickly, the duck pond. The duck pond's still moving forward. As I told y'all, I believe 2 commission meetings ago, that we're still waiting on Texas Parks and Wildlife to see if we receive the grant. That won't happen until May. However, we are working with the consultants right now and working on reviewing the construction documents that they have completed so far. So just so y'all are aware, that's still taking place. We're moving forward with just reviewing the design and reviewing the construction documents. So wanted y'all to be aware of that. The soccer fields are continuing to move forward as well. We've had some minor issues over there, and so we touched base with the owner of Fielder's Choice. We worked out some of the concerns that we had as a city, and we also worked out some new space, I guess, or a continued space for VYSO. So VYSO is going to continue to stay at the airport and through the end of summer. And we're going to be working with Fielder's Choice over the next couple of months to correct some of those concerns that the city had. So you may end up seeing some construction equipment over there, probably around April or May. That's just going to be Fielder's Choice in the city working on a few things to correct some of the concerns that we had. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that, that there will be some construction taking place out there. Any questions on those 2 so far? Okay, cool. No response is good, I assume. So I'm gonna take the head nod as cool. So I wanted y'all to also be aware that the city is currently undertaking the budget process, and so Parks and Rec Department is currently working on our budget. So if there's any items from the commission that you see out there, or some thoughts that you have as far as projects or maintenance, please let us know. We're trying to get everything wrapped up by the end of this month and at least submitted. In addition to that, we do have a new CIP process that I believe I touched on once before. But we did submit a CIP project for the golf course greens, basically a renovation of the golf course greens. And so although that project hasn't been approved, it has been identified, and we will continue those conversations. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that as well. The splash pad that we had set for Riverside Park this year, we still have the funding for that. There was a comment made about, is that the right location for a splash pad? And the fact that we're undertaking a Parks and Rec master plan. So while we don't want to sit and wait on that splash pad, we do want to make sure that it's in the proper location, that the community feels that it's in the great location. And so we won't necessarily just put a pause on that project, but we are going to hold off, if you will, until a good portion of the master plan is completed to identify at least the location. In the background or in the interim, what we're going to be doing as staff is really, honing in on a scope of work, trying to identify a square footage that's going to meet our budget, and then trying to identify some of those companies that would be able to help us out with the project once we're able to commence. So just wanted y'all to be aware of that. I'm sure there's been some conversation about the splash pad. And not only that, summer's coming up. Now, you won't be able to tell about this weekend, but summer's coming, and it's going to be fast approaching. So, next thing we know, it's going to be hot and everybody's going to be out to splash pad. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that. That still is taking place. The Parks Master Plan. So I sent y'all an email about a week or so ago with a survey link. That is to the general survey. That's going to be to the Parks and Recreation system as a whole. We do plan on pushing out the remainder or the remaining surveys, hopefully this week. We received those late last week to be able to go live with them. So we're just working with communications right now to push those pieces out. These next three surveys that will be pushed to the public are going to be the parks that will be conceptualized. And as y'all know, Riverside and Ethel Lee are the two that we had originally added in the scope. However, last council meeting, we took to council, in addition to those conceptual parks, being the addition of what Gail mentioned earlier, being MLK Park. And so council has approved us to move forward with adding that park to the scope of work. So now we have three parks that will end up conceptualizing, which will be Riverside, Ethel Lee Tracy, and MLK. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to push those out, like I said, within the next week or so. So all of our surveys will be out. Something that staff is doing, Kimberly thought of it, was a really great idea, is that we're actually making signs to put out into the parks that will have QR codes on them. And so we'll put all these signs out in the parks, and then people, while they're at the park enjoying themselves, they'll see the sign, be able to click on the QR code, and it'll take them directly to the survey. And so we hope we're able to generate some more responses out of that. One thing that we did notice or did find out in talking with the consultants is that majority of the people that are taking the survey we have about a 70% response rate as far as completing the survey, which to our consultants meant that we got a really long survey. So we ended up looking at the survey, scaling it back a little bit. We took out maybe a handful of questions. But in addition to that, we also added verbiage in there that stated that you don't have to answer all these questions if you want to take the survey. Like, answer whatever you want to answer and just keep rolling through it. And so we wanted to make sure that we let you know that we did a combination of things to try to reduce that. So hopefully people are more inclined to take the survey if it's a little shorter and they know that they can skip around, if you will. So as of last week, Kimberly, correct me, I think we had 65-ish, 70, something like that. So we had 65, 70 or so folks that have completed the survey so far. And that kind of rolls right into the next thing that I'm going to mention, is that we're looking to have an open house March 10th and March 11th. That's tentatively scheduled right now. We're planning to have an open house take place on the north side, and we're going to plan on having an open house take place on the south side. In addition to having those open houses in the evenings, we're also going to set up over at City Hall. We'll have staff there with some poster boards and just really some information, handing out to citizens and community members who are coming into City Hall to pay their bills or to contact, the city secretary. And so, our hope is that we can get a lot of input through those surveys, because they've been out at that point, they've been out for a month. We hope that we can get some more folks, participating, or at least giving us their comments from being at City Hall. And then also obviously the open houses that we'll plan to conduct on the 10th and the 11th. So I wanted y'all to be aware of those things that are happening regarding the master plan. The last thing I wanted to update y'all on the master plan are the chapter drafts. So Half Associates is, they owe us chapter 1 and chapter 2 drafts. And I was hoping to have those already so I could share them with you, but I haven't received those yet. But once I do have them, I'd like to send those over to y'all so you can take a look at them and give your feedback on it. If there's something that we need to address at the next commission meeting, we can do so and relate that back to Half. But I want y'all to be fully, involved with this process and really give your input if there's something that you see that needs to be changed or suggestions that you may have. A lot of talking about the master plan. Is there any questions on the master plan?
Just the open house, what's the hour of open house?
So we haven't determined that yet. We actually just determined the dates, or we just talked about the dates last week. So it's really kind of in the beginning stages. But once we have that information, sir, we'll definitely share that with the commission and make sure that y'all are aware of the location as well as the times.
Any questions from anyone? Jace? Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, well.
I just wanted to say, I think
And,
those, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say, I think those are two good suggestions to tweak the survey to let people know they didn't have to answer the whole thing. And, to keep going forward on it, because it was a little daunting when I first opened it up, and I actually cycled back to it instead of finishing one sitting. So good job on tweaking it to get more participation.
And when we're talking, this is Justin. Hello. And when we're talking about the survey, and is it going to be scaled down, meaning possibly that after you get the feedback, you make it into even a smaller survey with the information that you've gained to kind of move forward as far as making a decision based on the information that you have received within those surveys?
So that's so I'll take that as two questions. So one, the MLK and the conceptualized parks, those surveys are way scaled down. I mean, they're probably 1/2 to 3/4 shortened as far as length compared to the Parks and Rec general survey. Are we going to have another survey afterwards? Probably not. The idea is to get as much information as we can from those surveys, compile that information, and then get more information, if you will, at the open house, as well as kind of putting some of those storyboards in place from the surveys that they have received information from previously on the online. I hope that makes sense, but basically our online surveys will help us with our open house conversations.
Right. And I
Is
also had a
that what you
comment.
were asking, sir?
Yeah, that's what I was asking, just kind of the process moving forward after gathering the information. But that does make sense that you say that you'll lead with that information through the questions that you ask at the open house. So that makes a lot of sense. But I also had a comment about the splash pad, because I think, to me, the Parks and Recreation might be one of the most important parts of the city of Victoria, because I mean, one thing you can't get from the mall or from anything indoor is that nature feeling. And when I think of the splash pad, I just hope that it's not going to be, I hope that it'll be something very good, something that we could be proud of for a long time. Like, hey, we got a great splash pad. Because if that makes sense, that was my comment on that. I just-
Absolutely, sir, and completely understandable. We actually have funding from Shanklin Foundation specifically for Riverside splash pad. And the combined total in funding is roughly $1 million. And so just, to kind of give you an idea, that should equate to probably a 5,000-ish square foot splash pad. So it's going to be a fairly large amenity that will be added to the park.
We vote for a
Right.
lazy river to be added to that.
I'm sorry, what was that, Gail?
Easy River.
Oh,
Lazy river. We vote for a lazy river for the big kid.
I'm okay with that. Mike's online, so I know he's okay with that too. Mike's all about that stuff, aren't you, Mike?
I'm always ready for action.
Me too. I have tubes, so yes. Hey,
And I-
your budget, Jason, you said that you had to have it completed by the end of February. When does that get taken to city council?
That won't be taken to city council until probably about May or June.
And then it goes into effect. When does your year start?
October 1.
October 1st. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And as I get, a little bit more used to the city and the way that the budgeting kind of works and the budget calendar, we'll have conversations like this a little bit earlier next time. But nonetheless, throughout the budget process, we'll keep you updated and involved, as much as y'all want. I'm sure you don't want to look at the entire budget and get your eyes crossed with all those numbers, but nonetheless, we can definitely highlight some of those bigger picture type items and go from there.
All right. I also had a comment about the master plan.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, I think that the community would benefit a lot from some kind of basketball court that seems more competitive, maybe something similar to the pavilion, or even indoor. That we don't really have a volleyball court either owned by the city. I don't think, like a good one that could be used in any weather. And I just think that the community would benefit good from that, based on how much I see people playing basketball. And that's all. And I just know that the pavilion gets utilized a lot. And that's it.
Yes, sir. And just so you're aware, I mean, we're definitely going to bring half back and to have a conversation with the commission. So we definitely are going to have, future opportunities to continue to bend their ear on some of these things that you hear from the community, or that you may, see as needed yourself. But we will continue to have them present at some of these commission meetings. Anything else on the master plan before I'm about halfway through, so go on.
Any other comments?
No?
Okay, then go ahead.
All righty. So also wanted to let y'all know that we actually were approached by United Way. And so we're working on partnering with them to install born learning trails through some of our parks. We're looking at starting in Ethel Lee and Riverside Park. I think they had identified those. But it's, Kimberly, you may be able to speak on born learning trails a little bit more than I can, but could you give them just a quick overview of what it is?
Yeah, so the Born Learning Trails, they're interactive learning tools and games that families can play with younger kids, toddlers, early elementary age. They go on concrete paths. We have several parks that have concrete paths going throughout the park. And so these would be painted on the ground and we post along the side of the path that children would be like counting, learning alphabet shapes, colors, things like that with their families, creating a fun learning atmosphere.
So we're looking to install these, I believe, by summer or the end of summer, I think is what their deadline was. No cost to the city. We've talked with them about maintenance, et cetera, and it's really kind of on them. So just wanted y'all to be aware that we are talking with United Way about those potential learning trails within the parks. So we have some breaking news for you, and this is going to be really awesome. But the city had an opportunity that we were opportunistic, and we were able to put a bid in for the TAF, which is Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, for the TAF Winter Games. TAF reached out to us last week and notified us that we were selected to host the TAF Winter Games from 2022 through 2024. Now that's pretty awesome. That's going to be a huge economic impact to the city. It's going to put us on the map in multiple ways, but it's really great to actually, have that opportunity to have state athletes come down here to Victoria and see what we've got. And so we're going to be working with, other organizations, specifically the ISD, to help with some of these facilities, start working on contracts, et cetera. But I wanted y'all to be aware of that. That's something that we just found out last week. There will be a press release coming out coming out tomorrow about TAF Winter Games. And so kudos to our recreation staff, Alex and Jamie. They were, really instrumental in putting the packet together and getting all the information over. Joel and CVB, he helped out tremendously with the hotels. And so, not only was it a city interdepartmental effort, but now it's literally going to take a village for us to bring Texas athletes down here. So it's really cool, really, really awesome opportunity. And yeah, we're going to be hosting state competition here for 3 years. So that's awesome.
Jason, I mean,
Yes, sir.
maybe I didn't follow. What are the Winter Games? What are some of the games?
That's a good question. So there's a few of them that have to be required, and one of them is pickleball.
Pickleball.
Another one, gymnastics,
What, swimming?
swimming, yes, sir. And then just a slew of others that we have the option to be able to host. And so we stated softball, baseball, basketball. Yeah, I mean, just a kickball. Yeah, I mean, it was a wide range of sports that we identified that we could host here.
And I know we have an indoor swimming pool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
pickleball.
We got plenty of courts for that.
There's football. I don't know if it's flag
Flag football.
Yeah. Flag football. Okay, you say winter? I mean, we don't play football in the winter time, but I guess we can.
Us Texas.
Softball, yeah.
And
Yes.
so for NLK weekend, it's 3 days.
Okay, on the Winter Games, do you know the month?
Yes, it'll be January.
Okay.
It'll be the week of Martin Luther King holiday. They like to have it hosted on the MLK weekend because typically the kids are out for 3 days. And so it gives the participants basically a 3-day weekend to travel and get home, et cetera.
So it's basically the whole month of January,
No, just the MLK weekend.
just that weekend?
Yes, sir. Just the 3 days.
Okay.
But in talking with other cities, I mean, their economic impact is pretty huge for that weekend. And speaking with Pearland, they had hosted it the last 3 years. I mean, their economic impact that they saw in those 3 days was $1 million.
I don't know if I can imagine.
So, I mean, we're looking at potentially $1 million economic impact for the next 3 years, just in a 3-day weekend.
If you can just with the VISD, we got plenty of gymnasiums.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, because you'd be picking the weekend, right?
No, I mean, they're pretty set on MLK weekend.
I know that's what I'm saying, the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and
Oh,
Sunday.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yes.
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I know that, basketball is going on in January, softball is going on in January. Swimming, I don't necessarily swimming going on, but kickball will, I mean, we don't have no kickball. But as far as the facilities for the VISD,
Mhm.
I know that basketball and softball and I think swimming is also going on to sometime,
Mhm.
and soccer, so.
And we did chat with VISD before we submitted this bid package. We talked with them about, the facilities, what, all the logistics behind it, capacities, all that kind of stuff.
Jason, let me know what I can help you with. I helped with Winter X Games in Vegas, so I can help with this, like putting together swag bags and stuff like that, and making sure that it's exciting for the players that come here.
Awesome.
So,
We
yeah,
appreciate it.
We'll get donations and stuff and make it, fun for all of them as well. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
We will be putting together a team of, all the departments that are going to be working on this, as well as outside organizations. So, we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions on TAF so I can keep rolling? Okay, all right. So nothing, I don't have too much more. I did want to let you know that we, since I got here, more specifically this year, seems like we're seeing an influx in food truck permit requests. So I can tell you that right now I have a request sitting on my desk for a food truck that sells tamales. So, as much as I want to invite food trucks in and make sure that we have, plenty of opportunity for them, I don't want to get bombarded with just food truck permits. So I just want y'all to know that we are reaching out to other communities looking for, ways that we can implement maybe some procedures and policies with that. So I just wanted to give y'all a heads up that that'll probably be forthcoming. I also wanted to let you know that the Parks Department underwent somewhat of a structure change. So we identified an area where we had a gap, as well as identified an area of improvement for succession planning. And so we created a foreman position from one of the crew leader positions that we had been holding. And basically what that comes out to is that we've got a better structure in the department. We're going to have more efficiency with our department. But I also thought this was a good segue, because one of the things that came out of that were conversations about other municipalities and how other park operations work. So I just wanted you to be aware that park staff has been reaching out to other cities, other counties, and we're actually going to be chatting with New Braunfels Parks and Recreation Department tomorrow about their park operations and how we can continue to be more efficient, and maybe just having that networking so we can bounce ideas off of each other and all of that. So I just wanted y'all to be aware that we're continuing to look for improvements and efficiencies wherever we can, and trying to think outside the box and reaching out to some of these other cities. With that, my mouth is dry. I'm a little parched, so I'm gonna pass the mic over to Kimberly, and she'll chat about the recreation.
Hello. All right. Let me know if you guys can't hear me throughout these updates. So first, last Tuesday, Jason presented the youth hunting program to council, and they approved us partnering with Texas Park and Wildlife to offer a youth hunting program in Riverside. So that's pretty exciting. We also had last year, recreation staff worked on putting together a pop-up park trailer full of lots of different activities for people to be able to just play games. And we had our soft launch the this past Saturday at Sun Valley Ranch, and it went really well. There was lots of fun, lots of games. Kids were running around having fun. Next Thursday at Aircrafters, there'll be a trivia night. There is also a drive-in bingo on, oh dear, I didn't write down the date. I believe it's the last weekend, the 26th. That Friday and the day before, so the 25th and 26th, there's going to be a drive-in bingo in the Riverside Stadium parking lot. When it went online for registration, it filled up, I believe, the first night that it was enrollment was open, which is really, really exciting. So they extended it to Thursday to allow people, because the wait list was longer than what we had spots available for. So we opened it for a second night. And I believe that one, there's still some spots available. The weekend of March 13th, the splash pads are open. That marks the beginning of our splash pad season. So we'll be open on the weekends. And then I believe in May, we open 7 days a week.
Yes.
And then just to let you guys know what's happening right now. So flag football is in full swing. We have several teams that are out during the weeknights, and they're playing flag football, which is really exciting. Adult basketball did not make, just to let you guys know, so we did not have enough teams sign up for there to be an effective season. So
You're okay.
hey, so that is, so there's no adult basketball happening. So that's what recreation looks like for the next few months. Are there any questions?
Did you offer a disc golf league this time around?
Disc golf is, so there's several leagues open for registration right now. One of them is disc golf. We have disc golf, cornhole and washers, softball, kickball, and sand volleyball. So we're getting fired up for those leagues.
I got a question for you, Kim. On that youth hunting program, what does that entail? What are they using, real guns or bow and arrows? Or?
So that has not been established yet. So we're working with Texas Parks and Wildlife to identify what will be the most effective tool to use during the program.
Have you checked on the liability?
We have. That's something that we're working on. What we presented to council was very high level. It was a very unique program. And so, typically, like I told council, typically we don't bring programs to council. But because this one was so unique, it also deals with closing down Riverside Park, is that we wanted to make sure that council was in support of at least that kind of a program. And so that's what we're going to be working on now. We really didn't want to spend our efforts in something that wasn't going to be, supported by council and the community. And so, what we plan on doing is, getting all those dirty details, like the liability, what kind of equipment are we going to use to harvest the deer? What are the logistics in that? What does that look like? And that's all going to have to be worked out with TPWD. Same thing, like where are they shooting from? Is it going to be from, what side of the park? And so those are the kinds of the things that we're going to work out. But we honestly, we don't know some of those answers. But that's, again, something that we're going to have to work out with TPWD and police department as well. I mean, we want them to be supportive of whatever, equipment is going to be used to harvest the deer.
And who exactly came up with this idea? Because when you say community support, I mean, there wasn't even any input from the Parks and Recreation Commission. So when you say support, who exactly came up with this idea, and how did you decide to move forward? And also, you say including shutting down the park and all that. That seems pretty major. So.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good question. So yeah, we did. Shutting down the park is huge, and that's one of the reasons why we took it to City Council. I apologize. I should have brought this to y'all, and I was telling Kimberly about this. Should have brought this to y'all and actually done a presentation on it to see what y'all's thoughts were. We mentioned it a few times in past meetings, just in updates. but never really dove really deep into the details, if you will, of the program. And so where this came from, it was a conversation that we had with Texas Parks and Wildlife back in June of last year. And we were really talking with them about programs and opportunities as far as projects are concerned. And there was mention about City Council having identified, a deer population concern a few years back, and what kind of a program, could be had from that. And the youth hunting program is basically what came of it. We also had some representatives from the Youth Hunting Association that was here with TPWD. And, when we were walking around with Texas Parks and Wildlife through Riverside Park, we just had them look at the park and say, what do you think about this as being potentially used for that program? And they thought it was a unique idea. Typically, they don't have partnerships with municipalities. It's usually just with either state parks or private landowners to help, with their deer population or with their game population. And so to work with a municipality, I think it was just a little different and unique for TPWD, as well as us. Quite honestly, I haven't run across any programs in a city, in a municipality that's anything quite like this. And so that's kind of how it came to be about, sir. Just conversations, and then quite frankly, after that, we started to work with TPWD to see if the program was even viable. And what we did was just deer counts. We had to figure out, did we have an overpopulation of deer in Riverside Park to begin with? And so that was the first question that we had. And after the survey and the data that we collected, Texas Parks and Wildlife came back and said that, yes, in fact, we do have overpopulation of deer, and that we could, cull the population by harvesting 6 buck and 30 doe. Obviously, that's not going to be something that happens in a 1-year time frame, and that's quite honestly something that probably won't ever happen all at one time. But that's how the program kind of came about.
And to add to that as well, so this is looking, and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, so this is the beginning of the program. So we're looking at conducting a pilot program this year, seeing how it is. And one of the big focus, if you said this, I apologize, is reaching out to kids who don't normally have this. There's a large part of our population here that have an opportunity to go hunting with their family and have those resources available to them. Part of this is making sure those kids who don't get those sorts of opportunities get that through this program. So it is a small program, and it is geared towards being a more equitable program for kids that don't normally get this sort of opportunity.
That's a good point.
Yeah, 'cause I know that in my thoughts, there's a lot of logistics that go on with hunting, as far as training, as far as supervision, just thinking of my head right now, I've got about 10, 15 questions. So I know this, first of all, that came to my mind was the liability. Another was the supervision. The other one is who's going to teach the training of, if I've never gone to hunting,
Sure.
How do I handle a gun? How do I handle a bow and arrow or whatever tool I use? I know in the military, we went through months of training just to learn how to fire M16. So I know somebody not knowing which end of the rifle to hold is
Right.
very crucial,
Right.
especially for liability. So, my questions go on and on, but I'm
Sure.
not going to take that much time. But
It will be a multi-day program to allow those skills to develop.
yeah, and
It'll be a 1-to-1 ratio.
yeah.
So
And we,
And are you trying to do this in the city limits? Or are you looking at doing this
Yeah.
somewhere else? And so when you shut down the park, you're saying that you're gonna be able to have enough people walk all the way around and make sure that you emptied it out 100%. The safety issues, and I don't know how you, the park is for everybody and you're gonna justify shutting it down for a few. I just don't see it. And everybody, and about not being able to, everybody not being able to shoot, not everybody that doesn't get to shoot a deer wants to shoot a deer. So I just don't, I don't agree with it, but that's a great thing about a commission is that, you know, we all shouldn't disagree. We shouldn't all agree all the time or else something's wrong.
No, I definitely appreciate that input and please, I mean, if y'all have concerns or questions, please feel free to reach out. If there's something that, if we want to talk about this further, I have no problem putting this on the agenda and we can talk about this further, you know, for next month if y'all would like. But yes, I mean, we do have some of the answers to those questions that you have. And like I said, I'm even more than happy we can bring Texas Parks and Wildlife representative down as well, if y'all would like, and we can have them speak to this program too. But if that's something, I mean, again, I have no problem with putting those on the agenda if you would like it on a future agenda.
I'd like to say something. I would like to see you bring it back with more information. I realize that the approval, it sounds like, was at concept level, but there are a lot of details, some of which have just only begun to be raised tonight. I also am concerned about being inside the city limits, and I'm all for hunting, don't get me wrong, but I have to also wonder about what kind of, is it going to be a political nightmare for the city? Because so many people now that I see walking the park, when they see deer with their small children, they're all happy, happy, joy, joy. And, you know, I know that you guys have an extension agent that takes out the hogs, the deer, you know, and that's all done at night when the park is shut down and different things like that. So I just, yeah, I think we need to bring it back and discuss it. I think there's some issues, some PR issues around it as well. It's just in addition to safety and, you know, all of that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. We can, we'll put something on the agenda for next month. And then what I'll do is, we'll go ahead and include the PowerPoint that was presented to City Council. And we'll go through that, as well as seeing if we can get Texas Parks and Wildlife representative to either be there in person or at least be on the phone so we can have that conversation with them as well.
All right, thank you.
What if I open up a can of worms?
No, I mean, like you said, I mean, this is something that we definitely want to talk about.
You know, being around weapons a lot, I know the danger, I know the safety, and
Sure.
you know, I've seen friends get shot, you know, and it just the liability and stuff. Also, you know, when you said shut down the park, I mean, what about those guys that are fanatics about playing golf every day?
Yes, sir. I mean, and you know, that's the thing that we're that we have to take into account, right? Being a commission and being a department, we're definitely not going to please everybody. And so we just need to figure out where's that happy medium. And if the happy medium is, hey, we're not going to do this, then we're not going to do this.
I see it working. If it, you say that happy medium, I see it working better perhaps at night when the park is closed, maybe an overnight thing, something like that. I've heard people hunting later in the night, and it might be easier to keep people out because you're able to actually, everyone already assumes it's closed, and that's just another idea. I don't know.
You know, my safety recommendation would be, you know, the weapon would be probably the bow and arrow.
Yes, sir. And we do have that. We have rifle, shotgun, crossbow, and bow and arrow.
Shooting dart, the darts with the straw.
Blue gun. I can kill them.
I kind of like that idea. I don't know. I like that.
Only if you put poison at the end of it. I'm good at that, bro.
Mr. Rivera, this is Gail. Hey, I just wanted you, for the commissioners that don't know, this hunting program that they're talking about is something that the former mayor, Paul Palaszczuk, brought up, and he was working with something like this with trying to get a program with Glen Dry going on to try to deal with a humane way to deal with the deer overpopulation. So just to let y'all know, it's just not something that these guys just made up. It's been in the works for a very long time.
Thanks, Gail.
Yeah, thank you, Gail.
And we're looking at doing this towards the end of the year, so we have a lot of time to be able to thoroughly discuss this, make sure everything is squared away, the details have been taken care of and visited and revisited. So thank you guys for your consideration for this. Like, it's a really big thing, and we want to make sure that like everyone is safe. That's a really big deal. It's a good learning opportunity and a good, there's potential. So, any other questions about recreation? Any other programming going on?
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, Jay?
That's it. That's all I've got. Thank y'all.
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, when, I know that we voted on this, when are we gonna meet with the city council to propose the naming of splash pad?
We just need to, me and you just probably need to sit down and figure out a date when we can go over a PowerPoint or how we want to move forward with that to council.
Okay.
But
Just give me a date,
Okay.
We can sit down.
Okay.
Anything else? If not? I guess.
I have a question. The splash pad, y'all said that it's reopening on March 13th and that's right before spring break. Is it going to be open the week of spring break? Yes, okay.
Okay, anything that,
It opens the week of spring break, and then it will be open on the weekends after that,
yes,
Okay,
Perfect.
until
May.
May.
thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, if nothing else, is there any further agendas you want to put in the item for next month? Anyone? Has any item that you want to talk about next month?
You know what? I'll go ahead and say I'll probably put together. Well, no, I'm going to put together a PowerPoint presentation of kind of some of the recreational activities that I would like to bring to the park with my business, and so just that. So y'all know kind of what I intend to carry, and then so we could promote it. And one of the things I went and looked at last week was a kid train. So it would be like I wanted to get a trolley last year, and because we had an issue with shuttling people with COVID, Governor Abbott, that was the concern with our business staying open was the shuttling aspect. And so I started looking into trams. Well, one of the things that's always mentioned is that people wish that they would bring back the train in the park, and we can't do that because flooding, it kept getting flooded out, the tracks did. But I received a message from one of the Victoria citizens on Facebook that there was a man in Beeville selling a train that he used for local festivals and different events, and like even one in Houston. But I'm looking to possibly get that, and it holds 16 adults. It'd be 24 children on it. It's covered cars, and it would actually kind of act as kind of like a trolley system throughout the park. So you would go like from my business or, the Rose Garden to go to the children's park and then stop at multiple locations. So it's one of the things that I'm thinking about getting. Obviously I want to get new kayaks because the ones that I got from Jerry, they're not going to last forever. So I'd like to kind of update some of the stuff that we carry as well. So it'll have a more uniformed look and just kind of be more eye appealing. And then more paddle boards, more bicycles. We have a couple of bicycles currently. I guess we have 3. And then I'm getting scooters. So I did a deal with Segway, and we'll be going to pick those up in the next month. I'm just trying to figure out how to get over there so we can bring them back, because the kayaks that I want to represent, they're in Georgia as well. So I'll make one little scoop, go get Segways and meet with them about getting the kayaks. And we definitely need more tandems. And hopefully that means that we won't have to depend on Goliad, their boats, when we have like the kayaking clinic and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, I have a list of things that I want to get for the business, but that way y'all will see kind of what I intend to have. Tubes are on that list. And then, I mean, I've been going and looking at other parks like Londa Park, which is in New Braunfels. I think you said that you've been talking with them. And that's kind of one of the things that I'd like to is to get paddle boats like what they have there. They have a train. I want a train. I'm kind of copycatting them to some degree. They've inspired me, but we spend a lot of time there, and it's a park that my whole family enjoys going to. I mean, there's water play, there's stuff you can do on top of the water, and then there's a train you can ride on. It really does fit everyone that wants to go there. There's nature trails, and anyways, just, I guess, all the same stuff that y'all are already working towards.
So Ashley, what I'm hearing from you, you want to put on the agenda for next month?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and throw you
Okay.
where I intend to grow, so y'all will know what I plan to cover, so maybe y'all don't waste your money investing in paddle boats if I'm already looking to get some paddle boats for your duck pond, or if y'all are willing to have it in the duck pond or in different areas, whatever. But I like how Londa Park has the ones that look like swans. It's special. I've never seen that anywhere else, where you can go to Quera and they have paddle boats, but they're just regular. I don't know. There's something special about riding around in a swan. They're cuter.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other item for the agenda for next month? No one? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that
No
motion.
one? Okay, Gail makes the motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I hear a
Second
second?
it. Yes, second it.
Second by Ashley. Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
All against? All against? Okay, so the motion passed. Good night and God bless you and hope to see you next month.
Good
Thank y'all.
night. Good seeing you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
And that's a
All
fine.
right, have
looking
you read your book,
magnolia.
Lori?